Welcome to the Explainer. So, if you're a focused learner who's just, absolutely tired of those massive 500-page diet manuals trying to micromanage every single second of your life, well, you are definitely in the right place today. We're diving into a uniquely hyper-concentrated source document. And I mean, it strips away all the fluff, all the passing trends, and all that confusing jargon just to deliver one singular, undeniable truth about weight loss.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this single, incredibly powerful sentence literally contains the ultimate truth of our entire source material. It says, balanced meals rich in fiber and protein help control hunger, making healthy weight loss more sustainable without extreme restriction. Okay, sure, it sounds kind of simple at first, right? But the sheer density of actionable insight packed into this one statement is absolutely profound. In fact, it's going to serve as our entire roadmap today.
And guys, when I say hyper-concentrated, I mean that literally. Our source document repeats this exact same sentence over 60 times. Seriously, page after page, paragraph after paragraph, it just relentlessly hammers this one phrase home. Honestly, it feels almost comical at first glance, like, who edits a document like that, right? But actually, scratch that, it's a brilliant signal. Because this isn't just some passing tip. No, this is an inescapable dietary mantra that's designed to fundamentally rewire how we look at food.
So, what does this all mean? It brings us to the big question. How on earth can a single repeating sentence completely replace those massive, complex diet programs? You know, the ones where we're obsessively counting every single calorie, or just aggressively cutting out entire food groups. To figure that out, we really need to deconstruct its core components. And we're going to start with the very thing it's actively trying to protect us from.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The problem. Extreme restriction.
Right out of the gate, the text identifies our primary antagonist in this whole micro-narrative, and that is extreme restriction. I think we all already know the sheer misery of starving ourselves, but our source takes a really hardline, almost philosophical stance against it. It argues that relying on intense hunger pangs isn't just unpleasant, it's actually physiologically incompatible with sustainable success. Literally, starving yourself is the exact opposite of the core philosophy we're examining today.
And this perfectly illustrates that central conflict. Look at it this way. On one side, extreme restriction implies suffering, running on temporary willpower, and, let's face it, inevitable burnout. But on the other side, the source demands balance, health, and manageable lifestyle changes. The text draws a really hard line here. It's basically saying there's no way you can achieve positive long-term results if your entire strategy relies on the negative methods of restriction.
Moving on to Section 2, the antidote, balanced meals.
So, to fight that antagonist, the text isolates two specific heroes. The first one being fiber. Now, according to the mantra, balance isn't just some vague buzzword they threw in, it is a strict functional requirement. Fiber is positioned as his absolutely non-negotiable anchor. It's required to safely control your hunger without accidentally triggering that whole restriction mindset we just talked about. But, fiber doesn't work alone. The second vital element here is protein. And I want you to notice how deliberately the source links them together. It never ever says fiber or protein. It explicitly insists on fiber and protein. Because combining these two together creates this physiological powerhouse, right? It's exactly what's required to directly combat the urge to overeat. So the formula is actually pretty rigid. Your plate must be balanced, it's got to be rich in fiber, and it has to be rich in protein. Those are the core components of the antidote. If you miss any of these three things, the text warns that the whole formula just breaks down. And that leaves you completely vulnerable to falling right back into that trap of extreme restriction.
Which brings us to Section 3, the mechanics of controlling hunger. Let's move to and see how this builds, logically, through the actionable process implied by the text. It's a four-step cascade. Step 1, you eat those balanced meals rich in fiber and protein. Step 2, that naturally controls your hunger. And because your hunger's in check, Step 3 happens almost effortlessly. You completely avoid extreme restriction, which leads directly to Step 4, sustaining healthy weight loss over time. It really is like a perfectly logical domino effect. Let's just zero in on this specific little snippet for a second. Help control hunger, making healthy weight loss more sustainable. This right here cements that direct causal link. Sustainability isn't born from having iron willpower, and it sure isn't born from punishing diets. It's actually a direct biological byproduct of controlling your hunger by eating the right foods.
All right, final stretch here. Section 4, achieving sustainable weight loss.
The absolute brilliance of this single sentence is how completely it shifts the paradigm. We move entirely away from the panic, the misery, and honestly, the inevitable failure of extreme restriction, and we land safely in the territory of sustainable health. The source completely resolves that agonizing conflict of dieting simply by changing the specific fuel you input.
So the crucial point is, this isn't just some random sentence they accidentally repeated 60 times. It's a highly efficient formula. Balanced meals rich in fiber and protein help control hunger, making healthy weight loss more sustainable without extreme restriction. When you look at it now with all that context, you see the diet, the biological mechanism, the final outcome, and the avoidance of suffering. The whole shebang elegantly wrapped into one single, inescapable rule.
Which leaves us with one lingering question today. Are you ready to stop starving and start sustaining? The next time you sit down to eat, I don't want you to think about what you have to restrict. Instead, just think about this one rule. Actively add that fiber and protein to your plate to control your hunger naturally. It literally is that straightforward, for sure. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I truly hope this hyper-focused dive forever changes the way you